episode 69 of Concentrated, the podcast about all the stuff. Well, it's normally the podcast about all the stuff we find cool and interesting as nerds of color. Today's going to be a bit of a somber episode. I'm Maria. I'm your host. I'm here as always with my co-host Eric.
Hello.
And Manira.
Hi.
And for those of you that are watching our video version, you will see our producer Jose is on the screen. He can just wave. As you guys, as our normal listeners know, this is not normally the tone of how one of our episodes start. And today, originally, we were going to be doing our review of the DC Comics Wonder Woman Dead Earth limited series. Which Eric is holding up a cover of the book. We promise we'll come back to Dead Earth, but if you've been anywhere on Earth over the last 48 hours, then you are probably well aware that Black Panther star, as well as the star of a multitude of other movies, Chadwick Boseman, passed away having a pretty lengthy battle with colon cancer. We decided that there are so many things that are bigger than us and impact the world in such an incredible way that it was worth dedicating this entire episode to Chadwick Boseman and his legacy, his life, and the impact in general that he has had on all of us in the world at large. So we won't have any news stories. If you listen to us, you know that we're a pretty jovial podcast most of the time. I can promise you that that's not what today is going to be. But we do have some thoughts and we do want to honor the man. And so we wanted to create this space. After listening to this, if you want to add to the conversation, if you have thoughts, we're going to touch on a couple of different topics. So if any of that speaks out to you, you can definitely feel free to contact us through our normal social media. Or if you're watching the video, you can drop a comment underneath this video, and we will be happy to just create this space because we're hurting right now.
Yeah, we're all kind of broken.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, there are some people that we're lucky enough to have on this planet that you never ever have to meet. And when they pass, it just affects you. And it hurts as if you knew them personally and had Sunday dinner with them. And I can't speak for my co-host. I can only speak for myself. I only ever experienced a celebrity death that bothered me as much and hurt as much as this one. When Anthony Bourdain passed, it was really, really difficult for me because he just spoke to me into my spirit in a way that a lot of people don't. I never thought I would feel that again. And then I got the news Friday night, actually from one of our listeners who sent me a text message because I hadn't seen the story yet. And I literally felt broken and felt like someone in my family had passed. I mean, it's crazy, So with that, we wanted to really first and foremost, even though we feel pretty shitty, right? We still want to really celebrate and honor this amazing actor, but also this amazing human being. And so I think we wanted to start really by just kind of highlighting his career, because for some people, especially very, very young fans, they may only know him for his role as King T'Challa in the Black Panther movie and, subsequently appearing in the other Marvel movies. But, and Eric, I'm going to let you kind of speak to that. Like his impact in film was so much more.
Yeah. Most people know him as Black Panther, but he somehow, I don't know if it's wittingly or unwittingly, basically became this voice for Black history through movies. Like he played James Brown, he played Jackie Robinson, he played Thurgood Marshall. Like he was knocking him out of the park playing these historical figures, these important figures in Black history. And then like the cherry on top of that was Black Panther, like the Black superhero.
Mhm.
And he did it with poise and grace and humility, and he kind of became a hero to everyone at that point.
Yeah. What I find funny is that he actually didn't start out wanting to be an actor. He wanted to be a director and a writer. And so he chose to do those roles so that he could get a better understanding of what acting actually means. And so that means that he picked those heroes in Black history and roles that come with a legacy to try and figure out how to be a better actor and or better director and better writer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the hardest part, because it's like you I would love for this episode to be one of those typical episodes that we do where we're just like giving all these facts and talking about the impact and blah blah blah. And it's just so fucking hard to do, because like in every way this man was truly a model human being, like outside of even how he got into acting, um and the motivation that he had and the creativity, like the responsibility, the personal responsibility that he took on as the actor outside of the role, to never do anything to disparage either the character that he portrayed or the legacy of those characters. I mean, part of the reason that none of us even knew he had cancer, and I mean, he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2016. Like, I don't know how many of our listeners or viewers have had a family member that has gone through a cancer diagnosis, but this is like stage 3 colon cancer is not just I'm just going to go in and get a little chemo here and there and it's going to be all good, or I'm going to go get one little surgery, they're going to take out the tumor and everything's going to be great. Like, this was truly a battle. And
Stage
this
1 isn't fun.
yeah, none
So
of them are fun.
stage 3,
Yeah, it's insane. And so for him to be so dedicated to making sure that he preserved the legacy of every role that he touched, and that he always was a man of integrity, and a man that presented with the ethics that he believed in. He was incredibly private, and there very few people knew anything about his personal life. To sit here and to have been diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer and still be working and creating these movies during that time. And then after doing that, going and doing all of the fan work. And he went above and beyond because he felt so responsible for the impact that the role that specifically the T'Challa role had on so many people, especially young children and just younger viewers in general, that he went out of his way to make himself as available to his fans as he possibly could. When I sit back now and I think about all the videos that I've seen of him right after the Avengers, like after Black Panther, and then definitely throughout the rest of the run through Endgame, all of the hospital visits to children that were battling the disease, probably not even at the level that he himself was battling it, and still showing up and being a hero, still showing up and being strong, still showing up and never once complaining or making it known to people that he was suffering. It's incredibly
and
remarkable.
keeping the schedule of an A-list actor,
Yeah.
working on some of the biggest films in literally one of the biggest films in history. Avengers Endgame is the highest grossing film in history.
Right.
And he still went out and did the press. He still, he was nice enough to his fans, all while going through this thing that none of us knew.
Yeah. It's just, there just aren't enough words.
We didn't deserve him, and we got him, and we didn't deserve him.
Yeah. I think, and for those that aren't watching the audio, or that aren't watching the video, um, you know, this is hard. And so we tend to be pretty witty and have lots of things to say. And it's just like, it doesn't feel like there are enough words, um, or the right words, right, to really eulogize this man and put into real perspective what he actually accomplished and what it did for so many. Um, Often enough, we look at our celebrities and we consider them just that, like, oh, they've got it great, they make all this money, they get to travel, they get to do this, they get to do that, and we don't stop and think about, especially the ones that are doing things that are so impactful and mean so much more than just entertaining us.
Well, not
What
just that, like normally we see, yeah, they say never meet your heroes, but like he seemed like a pretty decent guy. It's not like normally when you're like, oh, such and such star plays a hero, but they're really a shitbag in person, or they're caught doing something that they shouldn't, and they have to come and do an apology. We never got that from him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Not once. Not once. Like, ever. You can give me just about any celebrity you can think of, and I promise you that they have done at least one to two things, whether it was being rude to a waiter, whether it was blowing off a little kid signing an autograph. They've all done something that makes it very easy to see that they're just human beings. And yet, and still, you look at Chadwick Boseman, and there's nothing there. Like, it's almost like he was always more than just a person. And there will be those critics that'll be like, you guys are hyping him up, you guys are full of shit, he's just another actor that died, big whoop. And
Well, I say fuck those critics if they have that to
listen,
say.
I love
I,
that both of you said credits. That makes me so
did I say
happy right
credits?
now.
I meant
Yes.
critics.
But I'm
Sorry.
whatever.
sad. No, it was
Fuck
the
'em.
best.
I'm
I was
sorry.
like, yeah. Credits.
I
That's
meant
precious.
critics. Look, I'm trying to get my words
No,
together
I
here
know.
because
I get
I
it.
am
It made me happy.
like, I'm trying to let you have your emotions, so I'm keeping mine in line, and
No,
I'm
I
like
appreciate it.
wiping the
Thank
tears.
you.
But yeah, fuck y'all, because at the end of the day, one day I will have a grandson, and like every little kid, they're gonna probably want to watch cartoons and superhero movies, and thanks to what Chadwick did at a time, going through things that I can't even imagine. Because you got to think, Black Panther dropped in 2018, right?
February 2018.
So that means that he already was well dealing with this diagnosis when he made that movie. It's not like he got diagnosed after the movie finished filming. He was actively dealing with this the entire time. And so for me, one day I'm going to have a grandson who will be able to watch this movie that he created and know that no matter what the world tells him, people that look like him can be heroes.
Yeah, just looking at the timing and the releases of his movies, yeah, he probably would have gotten the news somewhere around filming Gods of Egypt and Captain America Civil War.
Yep.
And he still put the work in. He still put on, because what they don't tell you about playing a superhero is it's very difficult. Like you have to change your diet, you have to exercise, and going through chemotherapy at the same time while you're trying to put on muscle and look the part. That's not easy.
Mm-mm.
It's not easy when you're in great health, let alone, dealing with something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He has impacted the world, because one of the things that made Black Panther so incredibly special was that, and we talked about it when it came out, right? no one thought that a superhero movie with a black superhero would make money globally. Everybody was so worried that in Japan and in China, which is like the largest, market in the world, that this movie would not do well. And not only did everybody come out, everyone loved it. Everybody saw it multiple times. And everybody finally got the idea that, sorry, you don't have to look like Chris Evans to be a hero. You could also look like Chadwick Boseman and be a hero. And there are not enough words to thank him for doing that. There just isn't, you know?
I
So,
think one of like I don't know if you haven't read the tributes. Start with Ryan Coogler's "Cry Your Eyes Out,"
mhm.
move on to the Russo brothers, "Cry Your Eyes Out" again, and then maybe I would say one of the last ones. Check out Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's that he put on the Hollywood Reporter. I mean the quote basically says it all. He says, "We saw a whole history of our people's struggles and triumphs shining in the bright eyes of one indomitable man."
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, that pretty much nails it. Lupita also had a really good one.
Issa
Angela
Rae's really hurt my feelings
Issa
because
Rae's was
it
painful.
was what I was feeling.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, you really just grabbed my heart and went ahead and put it into words. Fantastic. Thanks for
Yeah.
that.
The other two that were really powerful to me were actually three, funny enough. Um, Angela Bassett talked a lot. Well, in her tribute, she points out how they were connected before she even realized that they were connected. Um, and then Journey Smollett, I think hers was wonderful in that it more captured how fucked up people on the internet have been. And I was happy that somebody, I think Issa called it out, but Issa called it out a little bit more graciously. I like the fact that Journey was very raw about how fucked up people are. And for those of you that may not know what we're referring to, in the months leading up to his passing, um, there was a lot of speculation on the internet about why he had been losing weight, why he looked the way he did, and there were a lot of incredibly cruel comments um, that were made, so much so that we're learning now that he actually had stopped posting or would take things down um, because the
Yeah,
comments
he
were
had
so cruel.
an amazing weight loss. Like
Uh,
this was not long before the Five Bloods came out,
mhm,
and I believe he was doing press for that, and he was doing some video. Um, I think it was related to the Jackie Robinson Foundation,
mhm.
and famously he played Jackie Robinson, but people. I assumed it was related to a film role,
Me too.
not unlike Chris Hemsworth did for the Moby Dick movie, where he lost an incredible amount of weight. Actors do this, but you know, and then people, I don't know if people close to him were defending it, saying, hey, when he's not playing Black Panther, he's very much a slender guy, and I don't know if maybe they knew and were just trying to, put people off of questioning his health, but we all hoped there was nothing wrong with his health.
Yeah.
I mean, but in the back of your mind, like, you're being gross, right? Because you don't know what's going on with that person, and
Yeah,
you
you
wouldn't
never
want
know.
anybody like that to say anything about your weight or someone in your family's weight. So the fact that people were saying gross things about this gentleman when they had absolutely no idea what was going on, other than he is an actor and it could have been for a role, is gross and disgusting, and we need to be better.
Yeah, not all weight loss or weight gain is healthy.
Right.
But again,
But
like,
it's also not for
for
you
you,
to,
right?
Yeah, it's none of your business.
yeah, like whatever motivation a person has for whatever's going on in their life, especially if it's not impacting you, then shut the fuck up. Like it's real simple. It's real simple. Does it affect you? Does it affect you eating, sleeping, breathing, working? No, then shut the fuck up. But this goes, to just what the internet has become, which is it's really just a gross, disgusting place for people to just see say and do things without accountability. And I think that listen, and we are a podcast and we have very strong opinions about a lot of things. So we are not completely devoid of our own fault, right? For having comments and having thoughts and things of that sort in the entertainment medium that we are a part of. But that said, to attack someone who has done nothing but good and has done nothing to deserve to be treated that way was just shameful. And for those of you that were out there doing it, I hope you feel like shit right now. And if you don't, then you're just a garbage fucking human being, because he never did anything for you guys to talk about him the way that you did and treat him the way that you did. And, again, he was going through something and you had no fucking clue. No clue and no idea. Which brings me to the last tribute that I liked because it was short and sweet, but also to me really impactful. Robert Downey Jr. posted a video of him and Chadwick like laughing and having a moment. I'm probably assuming at some point while they were filming the Avengers. And he wrote, Mr. Boseman leveled the playing field while fighting for his life. That's heroism. I remember the good times, the laughter, and the way he changed the game. And it's like, it's not a lot, but when you think about what he's saying, exactly. He literally changed the entire playing field, both figuratively, right? And literally, because he proved that one of Hollywood's biggest misconceptions, that a black man can't sell, $1 billion movie, he changed that single-handedly while also impacting an entire generation while he was fighting for his life. If that's not a hero, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know who is. And also, I just want to put this out there because of what I just said. Don't come in the comments talking about, oh, police officers risk their lives every day, and oh, military people risk. I want to hear that shit. I come from a military.
Shut the fuck up
right.
with that.
I come from a military and actual police family. I very much understand that. But when someone who signs up to do a job has no concept of what the impact of what that job is going to be, has the type of impact that he did while fighting for his life, it should be honored and it should be revered. And that's the only point that I'm making. So I don't know if there's a lot more for us to say on the topic. But I do think that there is one gaping question now. And it's a question that I never in a million years thought that I would be asking. What happens to Black Panther now? We know that Marvel was planning a Black Panther 2 release. Obviously, it's not in Marvel's phase 4, which is the phase that technically from a movie perspective starts whenever the Black Widow drops. Probably would have been a phase 5 film, and we know that it has not started filming yet. I think it's still being written, right, Eric?
Yeah, the last word from Ryan Coogler before Boseman's unfortunate passing was that he was in the writing process. But he was 100% signed on for the sequel. We all knew a sequel was coming because the first one made almost $2 billion in the box office. So it was kind of a no-brainer. We just don't know where they take it from here. And I think at this point, it's entirely up to Coogler if he wants to, A, recast, which I know a lot of people at this point are not going to be okay with. B, do something digitally to try and, if not recast, maybe write the character out in a way that doesn't seem disrespectful. Or C, maybe change the role, which I'm assuming a lot of people will be for. In the comics, Shuri eventually becomes a Black Panther for a while. Characters like M'Baku have become the Black Panther for a while. Maybe something along those lines, but we don't know where it's going to go from here. It's probably still a bit too early I'm pretty sure people like Coogler and the folks at Disney Marvel haven't even decided, but I'm sure they're having meetings.
Oh, I'm sure. I think I feel pretty strongly that, and anybody that's ever followed the comics knows that in the comics at certain points, um Shuri has been the Black Panther. She's taken on the mantle. I think that I would be much more aligned with that than if they actually cast another actor, or if they decided to do some CG version. The family may decide to sign off on that, but
I don't know how. I mean, it's not like they had started filming. It's not like what they did with Princess Leia in the last Star Wars movie, where they had a lot of footage built up from Last Jedi, and they did a lot of shooting her from behind. And even like for the younger version, they had her daughter be her stand-in for the younger version film for the scenes. You don't have any of that with Black Panther. They were strictly in pre-production. We knew it was going to happen, but we don't know the details, and a lot of that will change now. Um, Hopefully, if they do utilize some form of digital technology, maybe it's just something to give the character a send off. Not to, I don't want to see another actor using, digital face replacement to play the character. If you're going to recast, but do not do that. That's very disrespectful.
No.
yeah, exactly. I don't.
Like it's not a Terrence Howard, Don Cheadle thing. Like you can't just flip the switch and expect us not to notice.
Yeah, I mean, especially like even going back to that one, um, I think it was a switch for the better. But I had a whole lot of problems and questions that in one we had Terrence, and then next thing you know, we got Don. Even though it did end up being for the better, but there was like no
Always for the
explanation.
better.
Right. Listen, no
You don't
explanation, no nothing. It was just
you don't need
weird.
explanation on that. Both actors were still around. It's just
Right.
contract disputes happen. Sometimes you got to recast. They did it with Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo. They didn't say anything. It was just like, oh, you know this is Bruce Banner.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. To your point, there's no way that the sequel doesn't happen.
No,
But
Disney's not letting that go for another 2 billion, and the second one was projected to make even more.
yeah,
It will happen. The question now is how.
yeah, exactly.
I personally, I would say if you don't do Shuri as the Black Panther, maybe give me something from another standpoint. Give me another person in Wakanda. Make Okoye the Black Panther. I'd watch that movie.
I'd
Well,
watch
I
the
mean,
fuck out of it.
well, here's the thing though, Eric, and in fairness, I've read very little Black Panther over the years. I know his dad, I know him, I know Shuri. I feel like there was someone else that in the comics took on the moniker. Was there not?
There's been a couple. I mean, you have the whole White Wolf thing with Bucky.
Hmm.
Well, they made Bucky the White Wolf. He's not actually the White Wolf character from the comics. Like he's basically Black Panther's stepbrother.
Hmm.
Um, I wouldn't say definitely don't make Bucky the Black Panther.
No,
That's a
no.
whole nother thing we don't even want to step into. Um, yeah, I would say there have been like from the Ta-Nehisi Coates book, you had a couple of different characters around Wakanda. You had a character that was essentially Okoye's character and her struggles with the throne and her kind of rebelling. So
Mm,
give me some more issue. Give me more Okoye. If you don't want to make Shuri the Black Panther, maybe have Okoye take on the role of the Black Panther as she's mentoring Shuri to eventually take it over. Because Shuri's not a fighter. Like she can
right,
fight, but she's not trained the same way that T'Challa was. She's a
right.
scientist, whereas Okoye is one of the best fighters in Wakanda
And
And
the
we'll do
and
world.
the world.
anything
I would say,
for
Yeah,
and the
Wakanda.
world.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear. Not just Wakanda. She is a bad, bad woman. Um, well, I mean, I think at this point, this is all speculation. I think we, like the rest of you, will be sitting back, waiting to see what Disney decides to do. I'm incredibly hopeful that they take some time with that. I think that if I heard an announcement within like the next 30 days, I'd have a
No,
real problem with that, but I don't see a reason that there would be anything that quickly. I mean, like you said, it's not even the script's not even done yet. So
no. I would say if you do anything, and it's still very early to talk, but I would say kill off the character, but do it in a respectful way. This is Chadwick Boseman's character.
mhm.
Like, even if you put somebody else, we're always going to look at it. It's not like fucking Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard. Nobody was clamoring for Don Cheadle like he has to play War Machine. No, Chadwick Boseman made this character famous. I see white people, Wakanda forevering in the streets.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody else can do this role and not have that burden over their head of trying to
Yeah.
be in his shadow.
Well,
Whereas you have so many other characters in the Wakanda, thankfully, thanks to good writing, you have so many of the characters that you care about from the movie that
well,
could take on the main, role.
I think it ends up kind of falling into that same situation that happened with the Joker, right? After, even though Heath Ledger wasn't the first person to play the Joker, he played it so well that, like, Lord knows Christopher Nolan didn't want to like retouch it again. And then you had the Joaquin Phoenix version of the Joker come out. And
Womp
for
womp.
right, and for as many people who loved the movie, there were a ton that hated it, not even on the merits of it was a shitty movie, which we've said on this podcast, but because they were like, there was only one Joker after Heath Ledger's performance. There was only one Joker. It's been done. You're not even close. You don't hold a candle to it. This is bullshit.
Meh.
Um,
I, I could give a shit about who plays an anarchistic white man.
well,
They did
there
nothing for the
is
culture. Yeah, it's a
there is
cool role,
also that.
but
There
yeah,
is
I'm
also
tired
that.
of seeing white people tell me how amazing the Joker is or how amazing their preferred Joker is. Cesar Romero is my favorite Joker. If you want to fuck with me, I don't
Yeah.
give a shit about the Joker. The Joker's role
I
has
like Jack Nicholson.
yeah. You
I
can have
like
your
Jack
favorite
Nicholson
Joker.
too. But no, I think Eric, the
There's a
point
difference
you made
between a
was a
Yeah.
bigger
character
point.
being there's a difference between a character being influential in pop culture and influential in the culture of an entire people.
Right.
And that's where Black Panther is. And
Well,
that's where Chadwick Boseman he put his feet in that role.
yeah. And not only did he put his feet in that role, because it wasn't just about the role. If after that movie was released, he came out and just acted like a jackass, like, yeah, of course it's great. I did it, blah, blah, blah. It would have diminished the performance and the impact of the movie itself. I
Or if
think
he was ultra method about it, like fucking like what's his name as Joker, where he was sending people dead
Jared
animals.
Leto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jared Leto.
Yeah, exactly. If he had taken that approach, I think it would have been one thing. But I think that what further amplified the impact of the role was who he was as a man after completing this role. And how he did the press release or the press routine, and how he did everything associated with this particular role, because he intimately understood how important and how
Yep.
impactful the role was.
Have you seen the video that's going viral again of him on Jimmy Kimmel with people basically talking to a poster of Black Panther?
Jimmy
Oh my
telling
God.
them what the
Fallon.
movie meant to
Jimmy
them? Yeah.
Fallon,
Was
not
it Jimmy
Jimmy.
Fallon? One of the
Yeah.
white guys named Jimmy.
No,
Listen,
yeah,
I
no.
cried when I saw it when it first happened, like way back when, right after the movie released, and you had these people standing in front of the poster pouring their hearts out, and then he would come out. I cried then,
I especially
like
love
tears of joy.
that video for the one woman towards the end who's like she's telling him everything that Black Panther meant, and then Jimmy Fallon comes out. She's like, "Oh, hey Jimmy."
Hey Jimmy, back to
Oh,
but
you're
back
here
to
too?
you, right?
Cool. Anyway, Chadwick, what are you doing?
Right. That is my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
That lets you know basically what it meant. Like, oh yeah, random white guy. Hey, I know you're important, but Chadwick is in front of me, so bye.
Right.
Like the role in it's difficult to say because 2018 was a big year for Black superheroes. At the beginning, you had Black Panther. At the end, you had Into the Spider-Verse.
Mhm.
And if you were to go to BlurredCon in 2019, the top two costumes you see are
Yep.
Black Panther and Miles Morales.
Miles Morales. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, whew.
Oh
just
my
the
gosh.
impact on the legacy
Yeah.
of superheroes in the Black community. Like it's them, and then maybe Black Lightning.
Yeah. Or Static Shock. You know,
Shock.
Yeah,
you
Static
got them
Shock.
folks that ride heavy and hard for Static Shock.
Like
Speaking
this
of
isn't like
videos,
if Mike Coulter died and he was, he portrayed Luke Cage. Yeah,
mhm,
great series, but it's not going to have the same impact.
no,
Sorry, Mike.
it's just
Yeah,
not.
no,
It's not.
I love
No,
Luke
it's
Cage,
not.
but no,
But
it's not.
no, it's not.
It just isn't. I will say this though, speaking of videos, because we spent a lot of time today crying. I think every time we go online, we're crying about this stuff. But if you want to really get to the remembering the good times and celebrating, another video that has kind of resurfaced, the viral video, was of Chadwick Boseman playing King T'Challa on SNL when they did Black
Oh, the
Jeopardy
Black Jeopardy.
with Karen's potato salad.
Get your bland ass potato salad out of here.
Please go watch this clip because he does it so just like deadpan. It is absolutely one of the funniest things that you are going to
All of his
see.
answers are the best.
Ugh, he is fantastic. But he will be sorely missed. I honestly cannot think of a single actor, honestly, or just a single person of color today, that will have had the type of impact cross generationally, with their passing as Chadwick Boseman has right now. And I know some would argue, well, we just lost John Lewis, and yes, there was an impact there, but most children who quote unquote mourned his passing mourned it because his parents their parents told them what he did many years ago during the civil rights movement, which to far too many young people seems like it was hundreds of years ago, even though it wasn't. um just little kids are crying, everybody's crying, like this is just, it's a hard one. And with that, Eric Manera, before we wrap up, I just wanted to give you the opportunity if you had anything else that you wanted to say or share, before we close this one out.
Um, I think personally, and this is beyond Chadwick Boseman. Yes, this is very tragic. Um, get a checkup if you think something's not and especially men who are very adverse to the idea of colonoscopies and things like that. It can save your life. Get a checkup early. Get a checkup often. Listen to your body.
Yeah, I've done enough crying on this podcast, so I'm all right. I'm good.
Yeah, I just want to second what Eric said. For starters, our grandfather actually passed from colon cancer, and you know, un- unfortunately, he didn't get as long as Chadwick even did, which seems crazy to say, right? Because 4 years doesn't seem like a very long time, and yet,
And 43, like
and 43, he is literally younger than me.
medical diagnosis usually says you should start getting a colonoscopy around 50, but in your 30s,
Start
get the
getting a
checkup.
check because it makes early detection makes such a difference.
And detecting it
Unfortunately,
early can literally expand. We don't know when he was diagnosed, but we also don't know how long he was suffering, and maybe an earlier diagnosis might have changed things a little bit,
well,
or at least
listen,
given him more time.
I am not a doctor, but my understanding is that ordinarily you start getting into the higher stages because it wasn't diagnosed soon enough.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. We've unfortunately had several family members that have battled cancer, and that's kind of been the case, for the ones that were able to survive it versus the ones that were not. Early detection makes all of the difference. So listen to Eric. He's my brother.
If you are, I know not everyone has insurance, not everyone can afford, unfortunately this country's kind of fucked up about that, but if you have the luxury of insurance and can get at least an annual checkup, get a checkup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anyone that listens to us knows that Eric and I routinely disagree. This is not one of those things that we disagree on, absolutely, men and women. This is something not to play around with. And then the other thing, man, just try to be fucking nicer to people, man. Like, I think one of the things that hurts me most in all of this is that there are people out there in this world that deserve your shitty energy because they're shitty people. And then there are people that just don't. How about we all just start defaulting to giving people the benefit of the doubt and don't be shitty to them unless they've given you a reason to be shitty to them?
I
Because
mean,
you never know what
especially
somebody's going
now,
through, man.
like everything is so divisive. Like,
Hmm.
just try to be the bigger person. And if you can't, then walk away from the situation.
Yeah.
But at least try.
Please try, because you never know. You never know what somebody else is going through. Somebody else never knows what you're going through. So let's just all try to be a little kinder to each other.
Also, check on your friends, especially now.
Yeah.
Check on your friends.
2020 is a whole different beast.
Yeah.
That goes for you, Michael B. Jordan. I haven't heard or seen anything from you, and I do hope that you are okay. I know that this is fucking hard,
Yeah, I was about
and
to
I hope
say,
you're okay.
I don't think he's okay, which is exactly why we haven't heard anything from him. And that's the other thing, guys, like everybody mourns differently. Give each other the space to mourn this situation or any situation where there's been a loss, because it's not easy. It's
Yeah,
never easy.
there are some people that I'm amazed I haven't heard from, celebrity wise, and even not so much celebrity wise. Like Guy De Silva is a stunt performer who basically was the stuntman in the suit starting from Civil War playing Black Panther, and I know he played him through Endgame whenever they needed a stunt double, and he was very close with Chadwick Boseman, and I haven't heard anything from him, but I know, the people who haven't said anything are probably the people that are hurting the most.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen, we told you there wasn't going to be a whole lot today. If you're hurting the way that we are, if you want to continue the conversation, you can definitely reach out to us. As always. Oh, go ahead.
Also, no, I was going to say, if you are like us and are trying to pay tribute to Chadwick Boseman, ABC tonight will be airing Black
Mhm.
Panther in its entirety, commercial free. If you want to, maybe Manera, take a break from TV and movies, maybe, go for a walk
Yeah.
or something. They are airing it tonight, and it was already on the list of movies coming to AMC theaters as they're reopening, where it was going to be like 5 cents movies. Black Panther was going to be on that. So if you're lucky enough, and if you are willing to take the risk to go to a theater, you can catch Black Panther soon again in a theatrical run. So
Nope. Showtime had me crying over 21 Bridges, and how dare it?
yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
watched 21 Bridges, and we
We
were like,
did.
"This movie is not great,
Right,
but we
but
love
here we
Chadwick
are,
Boseman.
right.
This is why we're here. We're here for him."
Right.
And
Not
even
this.
when he was alive and well, and we were watching this movie, we were like, we're literally only here because this is Chadwick Boseman,
Yep.
Yep.
and we want to support him in roles outside of Black Panther.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
And we tore that movie a new asshole, but we
We
still
did.
paid
On this
to go see
podcast,
it
yes, we did.
for Chadwick Boseman.
Listen, I think we routinely said that he was the only validating thing in that movie.
Yeah,
It
And
was.
I believe we asked him, we said, hey, we're here for you. Why'd you do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, watch it. I will not. I will not. I want to. I was scheduled to watch it in a group that I'm in, because people are hurting, and we usually get through things together by watching something and talking. I tried to do a little bit of that yesterday, and just seeing it on my screen as an option made me start to cry. So, not me.
well,
Not
you still also have, I believe, according to his press info, he did complete one more project, which is an adaptation of the play Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Mhm.
That is still scheduled to come out, and I know he was in pre-production of an adaptation of Yasuke about the Black Samurai. I don't
Mhm.
think that's going to happen with him now, because they hadn't started shooting yet. but Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is still coming out, and I don't know if that's going to come to theaters or streaming. Yeah,
Well,
so there,
whichever
he at least has one more project.
and however it comes out, it's going to be hard. That's where I'm at. Well, guys, as always, we want to thank you for listening and for watching. If you like this episode, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I don't want you to review us based on this episode. We're not doing this episode for fucking likes. We're not talking about Chadwick Boseman for clickbait. We are truly fans who truly cared about his work and his legacy and the things that he's done. So I'm not going to sit here and do our normal closing where I give you all the ways that you can show us love, because that's not what we're here for. Right now, we're here just trying to show a man who probably didn't get enough love when he was amongst us, show him the love that he deserves posthumously, and to just have our voices add to those voices of people who really truly appreciated what he gave us. If you are a regular listener or follower, next week we're going to be talking about The Boys season 2. We're going to binge it. We're going to talk about it then. You want to talk to us about that, you know how to reach us.
Yeah,
But
hopefully next week is a little more lighthearted.
yeah,
And not to mention, we will still have our next episode of the Futurist Science Fiction Club.
yeah, yeah,
You can be able to look for that on Wednesday.
yep, for
It'll be
episode
on the
3.
Canopy, right? It will not be on this.
Yeah, this week it'll
Yes.
be on the From the Canopy network and not on our side. But listen, just as I close this out, we love all of you. Show those that you love and that you care about. Love them now, because nothing is promised, nothing at all. And it's real easy to remember how great somebody was once they're gone, and instead of showing them how great you think they are when they can actually receive it. So
Yeah, celebrate your heroes while they're still around.
absolutely. Guys, try to have a good week. Take care.
Peace.